Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm in my fourth year of Human Kinetics and French here at Guelph. I play on the volleyball team. This is my second year as a SAM mentor, and I just learned how to breathe. I thought by 21 I kind of had breathing figured out, but recently I came across a TED talk by Patrick McCowan that showed me that maybe I could be breathing better. Patrick McCowan has the unique job of literally teaching people how to breathe. He got into this profession because as a child he had super severe asthma, which made breathing very difficult. This lowered his sleep quality and his concentration levels, and ultimately he had to drop out of high school. As a young adult, he came across a paper by a group of Russian scientists that said, breathe through your nose and breathe less. This paper changed his life, and he was using their effects. He was actually able to go back to school. He now does research in the effects of this style of breathing and is able to help to change the lives of others, especially athletes. Patrick McCowan helps every day high performance athletes get to that podium by simply incorporating nasal breathing into their training. So, to understand how he does this, let's look at why we as athletes want to be nose breathers and not mouth breathers. So, first, nasal breathing helps during recovery. In order to be ready for another bout of training tomorrow, we need to make sure that today our airways aren't inflamed. Nasal breathing does this by reducing trauma to airways. Our noses are full of little blood vessels that help heat up the air that we're taking in so that it doesn't shock our system and that we can go for those early morning runs. Our nose is also full of tiny little hairs that help trap allergens before they get to our lungs to potentially irritate / infect them. So those little nose hairs are good. Be nice to them. They're there for a reason. So nasal breathing also improves sleep quality, which is super important to an athlete's recovery. When you breathe through your mouth as you sleep, you are more likely to snore and develop asthma, which are two ways that can lead to disruptive sleep. These are things that nasal breathing can do to improve recovery and subsequently athletic performance. But to boost that athletic performance even further, you should also be breathing through your nose during exercise. When I heard that, I, of course, immediately went out and tried it. Spoiler alert, it's really, really hard. I had to give in and breathe through my mouth multiple times. But that's normal at first because nasal breathing increases air hunger, so your desire to breathe. You get this almost suffocating feeling because your nostrils are smaller than your mouth, therefore, there's more resistance to your breathing. This is actually a good thing because if you continually reduce the amount of air to your lungs, your body will adapt, and in the end, you won't need as much air. So this process requires time. It's not one time you go out and nasal breathe and you're good to go. So that sounds kind of counterintuitive. So let me break it down a bit. During nasal breathing, CO2 levels in the blood go way up. You might be thinking, hold up, CO2, we want to get that out of our body, right? Because it's a waste gas. It's not just a waste gas. It's actually what causes red blood cells to release oxygen from hemoglobin into the tissue. So with more CO2 in the blood, that actually means that there's more oxygen being delivered to the cells. With nasal breathing, you are also doing more diaphragmatic breathing. So what does that mean? The diaphragm is a muscle that sits underneath your ribs and is the main breathing muscle. But that's not all it does. It's also very beneficial to posture and stabilization of the spine, two things that are very important to sports because it improves functional movement and reduces the risk of injury. So these are all adaptations from nasal breathing that make it more efficient. It means you can do more exercise with the same amount of effort / air as mouth breathing. So this ultimately means that you are improving your fitness levels if you are training with nasal breathing. You can do more with less. Awesome. One last way that nasal breathing can benefit athletes is by helping to manage anxiety. Athletes, we've got a ton on our plate, especially right now with everything that's going on. So guess what? We're not immune to feeling anxious. Amazingly, you can help to manage this anxiety through your breathing. When you are anxious, you do fast upper chest breathing, which keeps you caught in this perpetual fight or flight response. And so you probably heard, in like yoga classes and stuff where you should be breathing in through your nose, but out through your mouth forcefully. So according to Patrick McCowan, don't do that. If we really want to escape that sympathetic nervous response involved with anxiety, so that fight or flight response, we should be breathing slowly through your nose and with your diaphragm. Okay? So I've made some big claims about how you should be breathing, but I think it comes down to you, student athlete, not just taking my word or Patrick McCallum's word for it. If you want to add that extra edge to your game, I challenge you to do your own research, try it out, and ultimately see, can you keep your mouth shut? Thanks for listening.